December the 14th, 2024. Guys, you're looking at a live webcam, and this is called Bay Beach Live Stream. What it is the town of Oyster Bay. And again, you're looking at live images of the Atlantic Ocean. The sun has went down there. We're at Central Time, and it's getting dark here also. But they're scanning, and people are watching it to look for any kind of drones. And I've seen some interesting things watching it for a few minutes, like these right here. They've been sitting there for quite a while. Now, maybe coming into an airport, but a lot of this isn't moving that much. It's interesting. But again, this is something you can go there and check it out. And each time it scans back and forth, you see new objects. The reason I'm coming here, though, is because we're talking about deception. And then there's going to be deception in the end times. And I think we're seeing kind of like a spy versus spy double deception. In other words, look right when things are going on on the left side, but if you do happen to look to the left, all of that was a lie too. Again, you can see things here. And so we have not seen any of the images from the U.S. Coast Guard. In the video earlier, we talked about it. There were reports from them and from the Sheriff's Department there in New Jersey. They talked about them coming up from the ocean and things like that. Guys, and the other thing, they cannot trace them on radar. There's no heat signature. Remember that. So what are we dealing with? Why couldn't we get one image from a Coast Guard cutter that had 50 images trailing it? In some of the other places, we have not seen anything other than these either consumer or maybe a grade up from that, drones. We haven't seen any images, right? And so the Coast Guard, of course, is part of the U.S. military and Homeland Security and all that tied into one. And so whatever they're told to do, they're going to say that. But they should give us a picture at least, right? A lot of people are getting them, and I have not seen anything but either airplanes or, again, these drones that have been out for quite a while. But what is happening is that December the 20th, coming up in 6 days, a law that they put into place in 2018 about drones and things like that and different surveillance is going to expire. And so now they're putting into place, right on the heels of this, a new updated version of that anti-drone law. And it's pretty concerning because they can use deadly force if they need to stop you from doing it. They're going to be able to track your drone, which they can do that, but they can actually probably track it with a drone that can take you or it out. And the main thing about it is they're going to try to shut down all public drone use. So what does that mean? Well, you wouldn't be able to see on the interstate where they had, in case of some kind of big event, had the roadblocks set up and the big FEMA camps set up over there to the right, to the left, or somewhere out of state. They don't want you seeing that. And everybody just about it around the world has a drone. You know, they're not super sophisticated, and some of them just get up a couple 100 feet and look around a few minutes, and then you got to recharge it. But what they're talking about is something more sophisticated. But this new law that they're trying to sign in is being backed by Ted Cruz from Texas, saying we need it, it's very important. So are they, again, they don't have any real images, they can't shoot them down, they can't detect them on radar. Is it because they're not really there? There's no heat signature. So think about it. And I'm going to link to the article, and I'll show you the top of it, talking about what they're going to do December the 20th, again with Republican backing. We're looking live, guys, at the town of Oyster Bay, and they're kind of scanning back and forth because there's been a lot of reports of drones in this area. I've seen another one, but it's got a lot of light pollution, unlike this one. There's a lot of lights right below the camera. This one seems to at least give you some idea of what they're doing. But so going back to the drone subject about kind of a double trick, double illusion. In other words, there is something there. They're thinking about it, or they don't want to talk about it. They say they can't shoot it down. They're afraid of the payload, possibly it crashing and not knowing what the payload is. Could it be dangerous to the public? Things like that is kind of the narrative that we're getting. But is there military drones up? Maybe from this nation, maybe not. Who knows? But are they looking for something here? Has there been something detected that's very dangerous, People would want to get out of hand, some type of large weapon. And you could have drones scanning that had this certain type detectors on it for different dangerous things that you could find, right? And they don't want to talk about that. And if you think about it, suddenly there's all these commercial drones and consumer drones flying everywhere. Well, if you could go back a few years and you could pay thousands of young people a lot of money to burn down cities, how easy would it be to send them some drones or some cash to get the drones and get them to fly them in all the proper cities that they need the cover for? Again, this is town of Oyster Bay. Now let's look at the other article. And I think we've got to take the information that we've had and what's in the article and mesh them kind of together, because they're going in with the new law. If it gets passed, and with the Republican backing it, more than likely will have the votes. That may be the end of a lot of freedom, not just drones, guys. They're talking about communications and being, again, they could track your drone back to you, and if they need to use physical force, they can. Let's take a look at that. This came out today, 11:15 a.m. Says New Jersey drone invasion just in time for Congress to reauthorize an Orwellian law. Series of drone sightings over New Jersey that began in mid-November have left residents and lawmakers spooked about the possibility of foreign adversaries breaching U.S. airspace with drone swarms. While officials have attempted to reassure the public, some lawmakers have stoked fear, leading to widespread panic on social media, with people interpreting anything moving in the night sky as a potential drone, even commercial jets and stars. I agree with that. Some of the pictures I've seen are planes or either helicopters or drones, just the regular drones you see. Some type of military drone or something, a spy drone, is not going to float around with blinking lights on it, so you can see it very clearly. But now, the people that burned down the cities, they would probably be flying them everywhere. I'm not saying there's not something there looking for something dangerous, scanning, and possibly a few other nefarious things. And they're showing on this map, again, I think this could be part of this distraction, the locations where the drones have been reported. You're talking about Picatinny Arsenal Military Base, Trenton, Staten Island Naval Weapons Station, Earl Joint Base, McGuire, Dix, Lakehurst. Think about that. So they're saying they're concerned about this, and they're mentioning the Trump golf course up there at Bedminster and Trenton and Philadelphia and New York. Well, if you're going to get a bill passed, make it look dangerous to the military. It says days ago, the FBI and the U.S. Homeland Security Department released a statement indicating we have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or public security threat or have a foreign nexus. So we had this congressman that came in, I think his name was Drew or something like that, and he, remember during the Trump first administration, he migrated from the Democrat platform over to the Republican platform, and he was saying that it was Iranian drone ships. And I did see satellite pictures of those that I mentioned to you, but they were overseas. And they're saying in this article, if actual truck-sized drones, some say Iranian origin, were flying in some of the world's most restricted airspace, let's use common sense. The Pentagon would have scrambled F-22s, F-35s on the East Coast almost immediately. What else would they do? They would shut down the airspaces. Not one airspace along the East Coast has been shut down, guys. That should tell you immediately. Okay? Since that hasn't happened, as far as we know, we can't help but be suspicious about the whole drone situation. Additionally, no private satellite data shows the Iranian drone carriers are parked off the coast. In fact, these vessels are located 7,500 miles away. They're talking about Elon Musk tweets. This goes back to January of 2023, up to September of this year, 29. It says the drone wars are already a big deal, but we ain't seen nothing yet. Again, this is Elon, September 29. Epic drone wars coming, September 30th. Drone swarm battles are coming that will boggle the mind. And here's a picture of them. I'm going to link to this article of the actual X statements themselves. And Trump wrote on his Truth Social platform, guys, he says, can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I think so. He said, I don't think so. Let the public know and now, otherwise shoot them down. And so think about that. They're not letting much information out. Again, we haven't seen any real images of anything that is not human-made. But what's going on here? They've got half the nation or more than half the nation convinced that something's going on with a lot of drones, talking about alien spaceships controlled by Iran, all of this, motherships, all of the other information. And is it strictly or only just to create more control? Again, they don't want a lot of drones when things really get desperate on this nation. Why? Because there's going to a lot be going on if the food runs out. We talked about that. Water runs out. And they start herding people together. Then we probably will start seeing some major drone activity at that point because they will use what they have to take out what anybody else has and to control the entire situation on the ground. But anyway, just like I was saying, no actual, right here, drones have been recovered, and footage on X frequently features amateur videos mistaking drones for commercial aircraft. I have to agree. Furthermore, as far as we know, the FAA has not closed large sections of airspace or diverted planes. While we are not dismissing the possibility of foreign adversary-operated drones breaching heavily restricted airspace, we're pointing out the extraordinary hype on social media with no substance, which has caused widespread panic, with some users on X calling this a psyop. Now, I haven't panicked about it at all. Most of you haven't either. We're not going to let something stop the hearts that's coming upon this planet, and so something like this sure isn't going to do it. It could be all tied together before it's said and done. But again, it is a psyop, I agree on that, but to panic about it is what they want. Because if you're afraid, you don't think straight. You're in a panic mode. You're just kind of a fear and flight mode. Now, this is the bill. You can look it up on YouTube. I'll put a link to this information also. But it's sponsored by Representative Mark Green, a Republican from Tennessee. Committees House Transportation and Infrastructure, Judiciary and Homeland Security. Latest action placed on the union calendar. Now, all of this comes back up for vote with the new things that are added. I guess 6 days now. So that's important. We got to pay attention to everything that's going on right now. You cannot look down. You got to keep both eyes focused, keep your head on a swivel, because it's going to start increasing very quickly between now and January the 20th. I'll put a link here that goes straight to the bill itself, and you can read through it. It's kind of long-winded, but they're kind of setting all the traps and covering their tails because of it. Let's scroll down just. You can do this also, and there's a section here that I want to show you right here, and this would be down about a page or so. but it says the number of instances, let me get this off there, the number of instances and a description of each instant in which actions described in the subsection B. And if you scroll down, you'll find this section that says to content, and it's talking about each briefing required under paragraph 1, and it shall include the following. And what we're looking at is the reasons they can come after you about disobeying these Orwellian new laws. It said the number of the charges and the description in which actions described in the subsection B1 have been taken, including all such instances that 1, equipment, system, or technology disrupted the transmission of radio or electronic signals, including and disaggregated by whether any such disruption was minimized. 2, may have resulted in harm, damage, or loss to a person or to private property, including and disaggregated by whether any such harm, damage, or loss was minimized. 3, resulting in successful seizure, exercise of control, or confiscation under subsection B1D, or require the use of reasonable force under the subsection B1E. So they got all the legal E's in here to come down on you real hard and heavy. And it's been going on for a while. I remember years ago, I went up to the Grand Canyon, and we had just a basic $99 drone, but when we got there, you couldn't fly, because they have the tour helicopters and all that, and so you have restricted airspace. But they're about, I think, to restrict it anywhere that someone that's not in the government can use any of this equipment. And so that will give a lot of people a disadvantage on observation of trouble coming down the line. But again, we're kind of dealing with a lot of moves left and right here. So we got to pay attention, guys. I just wanted to share this with you. It's a heads up. Be safe.